What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical average American here today to react and learn about 10 ways that Canada and the US are the same. You know, it seems like every single reaction or video that I ever do is on a never ending mission to identify all the little things that are different between America and Canada. And today, we finally have a video over what are the similarities. Now, I'm sure there are actually tons of similarities, but I'm not talking about the obvious ones that we probably both drink out of cups and we both probably use a bathtub and a shower and use toothpaste and driving cars. No, 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 not the obvious stuff, although I guess I can't be sure that Canadians do all of that, but I assume you do. And if you don't, I'd like to know what you're brushing your teeth with and getting to work in. But anyway, I'm interested to see maybe some of the funny or interesting things that we do the same in Canada and the U.S. that maybe I wouldn't have thought, or maybe are just interesting. I don't know. But at any rate, I'm ready to find out. So let's take a look.
Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're in Vancouver, British Columbia to talk about the similarities between the US and Canada, because we've seen a lot of videos about the differences between the US and Canada, and we thought what we'd do is give you some of the similarities to show how we actually are pretty close and pretty tight, all right?
Yeah.
Now, the first thing that probably tourists are going to notice that the US and Canada both do the same is they lie about the actual price you actually pay. Yes.
Well, yeah. Some of this is kind of like a marketing thing, right? Does the Canada do this thing like in the US where everything is $9.99 or $13.99, $199? Never just a whole number, never 200, never $10, $9.99. Just because they know that is not the final price. There's taxes and weird stuff going on, and seems like Canada is probably similar. Well, according to this, it is similar.
Both Canada and the US have sales tax. So the price you see on those goods you're gonna buy, oh no, that's not the end price. They always tack a little bit something extra on there. Here in Vancouver, you have the GST, or the Goods and Services Tax, which basically is about 5% added on to the goods and services that you buy. If you're going over to Ontario, they have the HST, the Harmonized Sales Tax, which could be like 13 to 15%.
Okay. Whoa, 13 to 15%. My goodness. I'm not very up to date with exactly how much sales tax we have in the US, mostly because I make it my mission to ignore it, to put it out of my brain, because I don't want to think about the extra little annoying money that you have to pay. So I just kind of ignore it. So, but I know it's there. And I almost thought he was saying that Canada has other taxes on top of the sales tax. That's not true, right? He's talking about different provinces having different sales taxes. That's what it sounds like.
In the US, the sales tax could be anywhere from next to nothing to 15%. I mean, it can vary across the place. Where I live, it's about 8%, 9% on what I have. So that's one thing tourists really notice right away is like, wait, the prices are not, what I pay is not the prices that they tell me. And that's in Canada and the US.
Yeah.
The second thing that...
Yeah, it's funny how you just get used to it, right? We all just get used to it. It's you don't even get mad about it anymore. I mean, from time to time, you you finally remember and you're like, hey, that's annoying. But for the most part, we just live our lives and don't really worry about it. At least I don't.
I think it's tourists when they come here is when they go and enjoy the food and they go and eat and drink and make merry. Both in Canada and in the US, you do tip. And luckily, you don't have to worry about the differences because in both places, you tip between 15 and 20% to your servers. So,
okay, cool. I honestly had forgotten if tipping was similar in Canada as in America. So this is actually a really useful one for him to bring up for me. Tipping is the same way as sales tax, isn't it? You just get used to it. And I don't know. Tipping is funny, isn't it? Because in the United States, servers and waiters and service people get paid so badly that they really do depend on the tipping to make their living wage anything, any amount that they can actually take home and live on. So, I don't know, tipping's a funny thing, isn't it? It's also got that aspect of you're kind of judging the performance of the waiter. Like you might give them extra money if you thought they brought you your Diet Coke fast or something. At least that's the metric I use, right?
Do know that when you are here. And the thing is, you might not like tipping, but that's how it kind of works here in Canada and the US, all right? But what's cool is both in Canada and the US, the servers and the people are super nice, super friendly. They're going to give you information and be helpful, tell you, look, this is the bar you should go to, here's the restaurant you should have, here's the food you should have in my town, which is really awesome. So that's another.
Wow. I mean, Canadians are already so polite and kind by default. So I can only imagine if I got like super polite, friendly, helpful Canadian waitresses and waiters helping me, they would just take all my money. Not because they forced me, not because they held like a maple syrup up to my head and was going to squirt me in the eye if I didn't. But like they would do, I can just tell. They would be so friendly and do such a nice job. I'd be like, man, I usually don't tip this much, but you're just so good. You're just so nice. Dang it.
Another thing that we have in common. Now, the fourth thing we have in common is we both love sports. Hockey, football, baseball, basketball. Sports bring people together in both countries and also cause a little fisticuffs as well. Now,
look at this statue. Do you guys know Jason? The horror villain, Jason, with the hockey mask. That looks like a giant Jason that's gonna attack these children. Anyway, yes, Americans are obsessed with sports. I mean, from what I can tell, Canadians really love hockey, like truly. And it actually sounds like their love of hockey is about equivalent to Americans' love of American football and basketball and sort of baseball. Yeah.
Bring people together in both countries and also cause a little fisticuffs as well. Now, I'm not going to say in both countries we equally like all sports the same, but that whole sports kind of culture and how our TV schedules and our weeks sometimes can be dictated by sports is very much a Canadian and an American kind of thing.
Yeah, okay, because I mean, I judge Americans on this, and I'm American. I'm like, gosh, guys, we need to calm down a little bit. We are obsessed. Our lives are revolving around this football match and this basketball game. And then everyone just shushes me and says, yeah, that's how we like it. Shush. And so it's actually comforting to know that happens a little in Canada too.
So the next thing that Canada and the U.S. have in common is they both have regions that want to have a little more independence from the rest of the country. So if you look at the U.S., we talk about don't mess with Texas. Yes, Texas is its own crazy, wonderful place. And in Canada, you have Quebec, which has Quebec City, Montreal, beautiful stuff there. But both these places have kind of this independent spirit. But the thing is we don't want them to leave because I don't want Quebec to take poutine, one of the most majestic, wonderful foods in the world. And I don't want to lose Texas barbecue, which is free.
Interesting. I've said this a few times, but yeah, it really does seem like the provinces have their own identities, cultural identities, and so it would make sense that some provinces would take it more to the extreme, and Quebec certainly hits the bullseye with that, right? Having the whole French language influence going on, many other things I'm sure as well. And I almost feel like that is more extreme than Texas, although in the United States, Texas can seem like its own foreign country off somewhere doing their own thing. But yeah, we still do love Texas for cowboys and barbecue. Anyway, this is a good point. This is an interesting comparison. I would not have thought about this one, but it is true.
Freaking awesome. So that's something there. So another thing where Canada and the U.S. are very similar is that we're both super proud of our country, and we're so proud we wear it. Like, we wear our flags. Whether it is in Canada, you'll see the Canadian backpackers with their Canadian flag on their backpack, or Americans who wear their flag everywhere. I mean, even their undies, you'll see American flags on there, okay? So we both wear our pride. And
this is an interesting one, because, this was absolutely true. For the past whatever amount of time, 50 years, 60 years, longer. Americans have had so much American pride. And we still do. We still absolutely do. But the way we show it has changed because I don't know if Canadians understand the nuance of this or our political parties or anything like that. I don't want to get too deep into it, but it's come to a point where wearing an American flag t-shirt or flying an American flag on the back of your car on a big post is become associated with like politics. Whereas it used to be just a very genuine, pure way of saying, hey, we're all Americans. We love America. And everyone would be like, oh, that's nice. American flag. He's got an American flag on his hat. But that has somewhat changed in the past 10 years or so, I'm going to say, where the meaning behind that has changed. And it's kind of sad and it's kind of strange, but it definitely is true depending on where you live in America. Literally flying the flag in a certain way, or it's kind of how you present it. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it has a different meaning. But besides that whole tangent, yes, Americans are extremely patriotic in different levels of extremism. And sounds like Canadians love Canada as well. So I think that's great.
Even their undies, you'll see American flags on there, okay? So we both wear our pride. And for a seventh similarity, we've actually come all the way across the continent. We're here in North Carolina on the Outer Banks. And the seventh similarity between Canada and the US is, dun-dun-dun, they both love country music. Yes, both countries are huge, and I'm going to talk about that. But when you're on...
Country... Canada loves country music? I had almost convinced myself that country music doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. Like it only exists in the United States. Like we're our own planet or something of country music. Country music is very hit or miss in the United States. Some people hate it. A lot of people love it. But I certainly didn't know that it was popular in Canada.
On your road trips, whether it's Route 66 across the U.S., which is not Route 66 anymore, but you get my point, or you're driving across Canada and you're turning that radio dial, you'll hear country music pop up here again and again and again. I mean, who doesn't love a little Kenny Rogers? Who doesn't love Shania Twain? I mean, come on, she's awesome. And you have this music style that pops up that really...
Wait, what? This is a random spot to put that both countries love root beer. Okay, is that supposed to relate to country music? Yeah, I guess I'd like a root beer with listening to the country music, I guess. Kind of random, kind of related. I don't know. Or is this supposed to be another point? Anyway, root beer, since we're talking about root beer, since he brought it up during the country music segment, Americans like root beer. It's definitely not as popular as a lot of other sodas. It's kind of obscure, and we kind of forget about its existence a lot. But it's good every now and then. Root beer. Yeah, root beer, okay.
really isn't popular too many other places around the world. I mean, some places it is, but in general, it's a Canadian-American thing.
Many agree that the Nordiques really won the 96 Cup. This is some kind of hockey reference. I have no idea what's going on.
So you do have that one similarity that we both love that, but also with that love is there's also people that really don't love it as well.
Both countries make tasty donuts. Oh, I love donuts. These are some classic looking donuts. The vanilla with sprinkles, chocolate donut. These are the most donut-looking donuts I've ever seen.
In both countries, so just a heads up for that one. Anyway, we'll head back across the continent to finish off up in Vancouver. Now, the eighth thing that the U.S. and Canada have in common is both of our countries are enormous, and sometimes tourists from outside of Canada or outside the U.S. don't quite grasp the distances that you have in the U.S. and Canada, because we'll get tourists that'll contact us, say, hey, Mark, we're going to fly into New York, get a car, drive down to Miami, then head over to L.A. We've got 2 weeks. Is that enough? I'm like, if you want to spend the entire time in a car.
Haha, interesting. Yeah, I bet this is really common with Europeans because, like he's saying, the area, the land area of Canada and the United States are similarly massive, and it takes you hours, days to travel from one end to another. Whereas in a lot of European countries, they can literally travel across their country in a few hours, go from major city to major city very quickly. Their countries just aren't that big, which is really cool to think about, being able to drive around your entire country in a day and see everything. That'd be like amazing. That's really cool. So I absolutely know what he's trying to say here. And it is very interesting and kind of funny.
But I get the same thing. People talk to me like, hey, Mark, we're going to fly to Toronto, then get a car, and then drive over to Montreal, then head over to Vancouver. I'm like, do you even know what the map looks like? I mean, you're going different directions here. Realize when you're coming to Canada or the U.S., it's going to be big driving distances. So if you can get a flight between cities, do that to save yourself hours and hours or even days of traveling.
Yeah, I bet the concept of living in, I don't know, like Germany or something, and flying around to the different places is just sounds silly. I don't know exactly how big Germany is, but I'm something like that, small-ish country. Whereas in Canada and the U.S., yeah, you'd absolutely take a plane, a flight from one side of the country to the other. It's just normal. So this is interesting to think about. It's a good point.
By just taking a flight different places, okay? The ninth thing that the U.S. and Canada have in common is the natural beauty that both countries have. Yes, we share Niagara Falls, one of the most beautiful waterfalls in the world.
Yeah, I actually didn't know we shared Niagara Falls till very recently. I had no idea. That blew my mind. Anyway, the natural beauty. I've seen a lot of the natural beauty of Canada, and a lot of it I have not seen. On the internet, I mean. Through the beauty of this screen I'm looking at, I have seen the beauty of Canada. And I have, honestly, I don't know how much beauty the United States has. It certainly has national parks, some mountain ranges, lakes, beaches. There's beauty to be had here. Maybe it gets a little underappreciated even by me. So yeah, okay.
But both countries have amazing nature all over. If you see the Rocky Mountains and you're here in Vancouver, you see them, or if you're down in the U.S., or if you go to the Appalachians, Prince Edward Island, oh my God, it's just gorgeous being out there. You're going to see the lakes and stuff like that, the coast all around. I mean, both the U.S. and Canada really are fantastic for nature lovers to get out and enjoy. And honestly, probably one of the best things in the U.S. and Canada are the national parks. So if you get a chance to go see Banff when you're here in Canada, or if you go see Yosemite when in the U.S., it is well worth it and you will love it. And my 10th and most important similarity between the U.S. and Canada, and though we have different names for it, both the U.S. and Canada, both the Americans and Canadians, we both agree that the cheesy goodness from that beautiful blue box, whether we call it Kraft Dinner in Canada or Kraft Macaroni and Cheese, we both appreciate, love, and just want to eat boxes and boxes of Kraft Macaroni and Cheese / Kraft Dinner. Look.
Okay. This is kind of random. But just because it's random doesn't make it any less true, I guess. Americans love macaroni and cheese. I will get on board with that one. That is an interesting observation, and I'm gonna agree. I'm American. I love macaroni and cheese. I love it comes in this box, Kraft macaroni and cheese. Yeah, I have fond memories of this box right here. That box. Growing up, making macaroni and cheese, eating it. Some of them were shaped like cartoons. Some SpongeBob shaped macaroni and cheese. You never knew what you were gonna get. So yeah, what did he say Canadians call this? Kraft dinner or something? Okay, that works too, yeah.
It's probably something you as a tourist might not get a chance to try because it's something you make at home. It's that food you had when you were a kid and you're in college, and when you're older and you have kids, you steal your kids' mac and cheese or you steal their Kraft dinner because it's so good. And honestly, all it is, it's macaroni noodles with powdered cheese mixed with milk and butter. All right? Yeah. And that's it. I mean,
that's the genius of it. The the simple beauty of it.
You think it's something so simple, so why would you eat that? But oh my God, it is so good, and that's one thing that can bring us both together. The beautiful, beautiful blue box from Kraft.
This guy's trying to negotiate world peace over here over macaroni and cheese. And you know what? I think it's working. I like it.
Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this list of 10 ways the US and Canada are actually pretty similar. If you want to learn more about visiting the US or Canada, we've got the don'ts of visiting the US, the don'ts of visiting Canada, the shocks of visiting the US, the shocks of visiting Canada, all on our website at waltersworld.com. We're also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
Okay, that's there's a lot of content. Yes, okay, understood. I think that's the end of it. This was by Walter's World, and I give that a like. I loved that. Love this guy. Any interesting comments, by the way? Mark, this must be the only time I've ever heard someone make the case for mac and cheese as an agent of international solidarity. Ha! Exactly. It's what he was doing. I like it. Mark for international president or something. Mac and cheese lord. Oh, man. A lot of people giving their compliments. Oh, you're right. Canada and the US are both amazing in their own right. Yes, it's very nice. Very nice indeed. Okay. Well, this video was very entertaining and very true. I really enjoyed this. He had some great points that were not so obvious. 'Cause most people, when you're talking about different countries like Canada and the US, you're talking about the differences, the interesting differences, which is great and all, but there's some interesting similarities as well. And I think, I mean, between Canada and the United States, probably two of the most similar nations anywhere in the world ever that there will ever be. We are so similar, which is really quite cool. So what did we talk about here? Sales tax, yes. Loving sports, absolutely. Country music. I was like, what was this about? I still can't wrap my head around that. Canada loving country music. Okay, cool. Old country music, classics, new country music. You know, it's always coming out. That is funny. That's cool. Both countries are larger than tourists typically understand. Natural beauty, and of course, mac and cheese. Yeah, I liked this video. That was good. That was fun. If you thought this video was good and fun as well, feel free to give it a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canada, Canadian culture, things, stuff going on in Canada that I've never seen before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.